Hello, everyone. Today I'm in conversation with Osvaldo Succi from the Centro Paula Souza in Brazil. And we're going to talk about virtual exchange strategy within his organization. But introduce yourself first, Osvaldo.
Thank you, Lorenza. I'm the COIL Virtual Exchange Coordinator for Centro Paula Souza. I'm originally a English professor who, along my teaching career, realized that I had to do something more for my students. So I started working with exchange programs, bringing my friends from the US. I got my master's degree from SUNY Albany. So I started bringing my friends and trying to put my students in contact with real English. And at some point, somebody told me that COIL was the future. And so I started working with COIL in 2013.
Tell me a little bit about the Paulo Souza Center. What is it exactly?
Okay. As I mentioned, I'm an English professor, Centro Paula Souza. Centro Paula Souza is a public institution that covers secondary education, higher education, and graduate education. We have approximately 230 something technical high schools. We have 81 what in the US they would call like technical community colleges, like 3-year technical community colleges, but these technical colleges allow you to go to graduate school. And we also have, we are starting improving our graduate programs. We operate in the state of São Paulo, and my focus is on higher education, and we have approximately 95,000 students.
Wow, okay. You mentioned you started getting involved with virtual exchange and COIL in 2013, so that's quite a while ago. Where does that interest come from? Why did you go in that direction?
The thing is, being an English professor for such a long time, we always trying to get our students. Well, in the past was like real English was the English spoken by Americans and British and Australian. And so we were desperately to get our students to get in touch with so-called native speakers.
Hmm.
And I started bringing my friends from State University of New York, where I got my master's degree, to come over and give my students this chance. We have to remember that Brazil is a very isolated country, linguistically speaking, because most of our population is on the shore of the country. I'm not going to get into politics, but there are very few native Brazilian languages that have like a uh, representation in our society. So Portuguese is widespread. The closest we have to our borders is Argentina and some other countries that speak Spanish. So in a monolingual country is really difficult to get students to first be aware of the linguistic importance of being bilingual, trilingual, etc. And so I started bringing this friends to Brazil. It wasn't very cost effective. And a friend of mine in one of these projects said, COIL is the future. And I said, what
Wow,
is COIL? And then I got started with
okay.
that. And our first project was with State University of New York at Ulster. And from there, we started in 2013, as I mentioned. And now we have carried out approximately 700 projects, and we have over 13,000 students.
That's
Uh,
very, very, very impressive, Osvaldo. So I wanted to focus today because you're really passionate about COIL virtual exchange. That's what you do. It's quite complicated to institutionalize virtual exchange. And so, in terms of your management strategy, what was important at the time to focus on in terms of a management strategy? And, thinking that you might be giving advice to other educators out there who are thinking of institutionalizing it. What did you need
Mhm.
to do to get to that
Well,
point?
as you mentioned, I'm really passionate about the topic. So passion gets you to a certain extent.
Yes,
Um,
and then you need people,
but
don't you? You need people on board. So
Uh,
yeah.
y- you- exactly. I see the kind of strategy that we used as like a first was a bottom up and then a top down. A bottom up strategy in the sense that my friend and a friend professor and I started the project in one of our units in Americana, São Paulo, and then we started spreading it to neighboring units of our institution, and then got to the point that the higher administration realized that that was a great project, and I brought the project to the whole system. So
Were you
today,
training though? Was it in terms of training or talking to people, just getting word out? Was it formal training? How did you do that?
my training was Hope Window from State University of New York. She was involved in the first project. We created a very solid project that professor 11 years ago or 12 years ago still carries out today.
Uh-huh.
So it was very hands-on. There was no formal training. And in reality, this is like a part of our DNA today
Oh,
because rather than offering large trainings or large training sessions, what we normally do with our professors is we coach them
uh-huh.
throughout the process. We work with the
Mm.
professors, the Brazilian professors and international professors, and help them create the first COIL project. And we try to help them create a solid, successful first project. We follow them up on the second project. And from our research, it was clear that after the third project, the professor is almost proficient in
Right.
COIL. But this was clearly the vision of some people in the higher education of my and in the higher administration of my institution who helped me took me out of the classroom and gave me hours to work on this. And now I have a team of 4 professors who work part-time with me.
So,
So
how difficult was it to get people enthusiastic about this and coach them? Was there a lot of buy-in? Were people thinking, "Oh, wow, I really want to know more about this," or was it challenging to get people's interest?
in Brazil is a little different from other countries because we were so isolated during the dictatorship period that ended in 1985. And we are a multicultural country. This is something that I don't have any references or studies on this, but Brazilians love uh, international people. It's really interesting to see that sometimes we treat foreigners better than our own. It's really an amazing thing. So our professors are very enthusiastic. We have professors who see COIL as an opportunity to have a writing partner in other countries, to participate in conferences and things like this. But we also have a serious problem of proficiency in foreign languages, not only from our students, but also from our professors. And in order to, this didn't happen because of COIL, but really helped us the fact that we have English and Spanish in our curriculum. Students, so we have like 220 English professors and over 80 Spanish professors. So we team up the technical professors with language professors, and we manage to get people involved. So the buy-in is very people are really interested, but they sometimes lack the linguistic knowledge, and then we team them up with the language professors to create a project.
So so I'm clear, your COIL VE collaborations are essentially focusing on language then in your, no,
No,
they're
no, not at all.
interdisciplinary. Oh, okay.
Not
Is
not
that
at
how it
all.
started off and it's evolved then?
Yes. Clearly, what happens is there are a lot of language professors involved, people who are um, English or language professors. They have a certain training in pedagogy, so it helps a lot. My institution is basically a vocational one. So we work anything from welding to international trade, forestry, all sorts of
Fantastic.
topics.
And who are you
So
partnering up with? Which are the other countries involved as your partners then? Can you name a few?
most of our partners are in the US and South America.
Yeah.
But we've done some works with France. We have a project with Italy, Israel, South Africa, India, China, Japan, the
Amazing.
Netherlands. Yes.
Amazing, amazing.
Y-
So over the years, so it's been sort of 12 years now and you're going stronger and stronger. What would you say in your words, what has virtual exchange brought to your institution?
I remember the first projects. At this moment, I'm a coordinator, so I'm not really in the classroom. But I remember the first projects that I was involved with, and I remember students having this long haul in the university and jumping up and down because they were happy to be able to talk to an American, to somebody from another country. As I mentioned, Brazil is very isolated, and most of our students didn't have the chance of interacting with an international person. So I think COIL brought a sense worldliness
Mm.
to our students, as well as a sense that we can do it. Again, I'm not going to get into politics, but there is a serious underdog kind of sense that in Brazil it seems that other countries can do better than us. And all of a sudden, our students were saying, oh, we can negotiate with people from the Netherlands. And we did a fantastic project. And at the same time, and this is one of the things that I'm most touched by, we're bringing a specific awareness to our students, not only in terms of how the global north behaves or treats certain countries from the global south, but also a very interesting perspective. We have a project with Venezuela, and I personally was worried that my students or Brazil in general was disturbed with the Venezuelan influx in Brazil because of diseases, and they were entering through a very poor part of the country. So uh, a poor country's poorest part. So imagine
Yeah.
how difficult that is. So I sat with this friend of mine, Jose Luis, Jimenez, who was from Venezuela, and he said, we have to do something about this. We have to talk to students. We have to get students involved. And he works with documentaries. And I said, okay, so why don't we talk about this influx or this Venezuelan migration to Brazil? He said, listen, if we do that, we're going to focus on the poor Venezuelan. Why don't we get together and look at a common problem that we have? And we and he called my attention to a native group that whose territory, the Yanomami, whose territory is separated by the borders of Brazil and Venezuela. So their territory was split apart because of our borders. And so students just started to create a documentary. It's not ready yet, but they started creating a documentary about the problems that uh, the Yanomami are having, in contact with the modern society. And at the same time, they have this perspective from two countries who have their own difficulties and their own problems. So I think this was very important.
One final thing before I let you go. The story you've just told me about focusing on common problems in the global south, is this going to inspire you with future projects? Is this going to be a focus, do you think?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Because I think that one of my interests in working with UNICollaboration is that, you know, there's great people everywhere, and but you need time to talk. You need a chance to create. And COIL creates this safe environment for people to talk, to bring up their ideas, and to see each other's perspective. And I think this is the beauty of it. And this can change a person's life. COIL has definitely changed my life as a researcher, as a person, and as a someone who every time I look on the streets, I'm walking on the streets, I'm three times more aware of the problems that are around, because I have all these different perspectives from Cameroon, from South Africa, from China, even from the United States and certain parts of Europe. So this gives, I think, COIL virtual exchange, or virtual exchange virtual exchange in general, gives us this a broader perspective that makes us better people.
Thank you, Osvaldo, and we really look forward to working more with you in the future.
Thank you, Lorenza, for the time. And I always take the time to do a little marketing here. If anybody is interested in working with Brazil, we're more than pleased to welcome. We can create projects and work together.